I am a local director here in Minneapolis, St. Paul area. I've been connected with the Playwrights Center since the summer of 2019. I was a summer intern in the beginning, and then I came back in 2023 as like a full year apprentice.
I am a former apprentice. I was an apprentice for the 2024-2025 season, and now I am the interim artistic assistant for the 25-26 season.
I am the Professional Resources and Education Associate.
I am the Professional Resources and Education Manager at the Playwrights Center.
I am the Office and Literary Manager at Theater Moo, which is based here in St. Paul. We're the Midwest's largest Asian American theater company. I got my start back in 2016 when I was an intern here at the Playwrights Center.
I actually came to the Playwrights Center as an intern.
And I am an artistic and administrative apprentice.
I am an administrative and artistic apprentice here at the Playwrights Center.
And I am one of the artistic and administrative apprentices here at the Playwrights Center.
So the apprenticeship program at Playwrights Center, it's an artistic and administrative apprenticeship, and you're doing all kinds of things in both of those categories. Some of the main things you're going to be doing on the artistic side are stage managing new works workshops throughout the year, getting to be in the room while all of that is happening. And then on the administrative side, one of the main things is working on that opportunities database, researching it and filling it up. Then you also get to be in all kinds of meetings all throughout the year and getting to know the staff.
The first half of it, which is the administration half, takes place under the purview of the Professional Resources and Education Department. And so that is really our department that works with our broad membership. We work on videos, video resources, article resources that have like writing tips for members or lists of plays that are like good reading on different topics. They help with we call them member open plays. So that's when members come to us and we host a reading filled with other people, members of the public who come in and want to hear a new play for the first time. Our apprentices take notes in those sessions. They get to practice giving dramaturgical feedback to the playwrights. They also help us facilitate our script club, which again involves reading members' plays and consolidating feedback.
The apprentices are also active artists, so we allow them to step in and offer creative responses with our resources and programming, and they have come up with really great ideas as we've stepped into this new building and with our programming growing.
And then there's the artistic side of the apprenticeship, which is stage managing workshops with all of our fellow playwrights and core writers. Being a stage manager entails setting up the space, holding the space well, making sure that you are a steward and a representative on behalf of the Playwrights Center to ensure that the actors and the designers and everyone who comes through the doors has a positive experience, and so that they can just think creatively and the stage manager will think logistically.
The current apprentices have done a really phenomenal job of taking ownership of some projects, coming up with new projects that we weren't thinking of, and being essentially the drivers and force with that.
You get a really well-rounded understanding of how the Playwrights Center operates, but also really well-rounded understanding of how new work development works. It is just a great experience to learn, to grow as an arts administrator, to grow as an artist, and to get to meet other artists from, again, all across, because you have artists coming from New York, and you have artists coming from other states outside of Minnesota. And so not only are you meeting artists that are locally based, you're also getting to meet and work with artists from everywhere.
Every person I've talked to, it's been some transformative conversation or another, just like hearing their experiences and where I am in my career currently, as in I'm very young and new to being a industry professional, I guess. And so being next to people who have been doing this for a while, it's a really, really cool and transformative experience each and every day.
The points of views that people, playwrights in particular, have and the stories they want to tell, they came in with different versions of their script. They came in, some of them just had an idea of a play and we workshopped the idea. Some of them were going to be produced like in the next fall, so it was like, we are done.
I did almost 20 workshops as an apprentice last season, and so I really worked with a wide variety of writers, both in writing style and in personality and in genre.
Most of my experience is in new work. I find sitting at a table with binders is my bread and butter. I feel like it's much more intimate. You're in a room, you're sitting this close to the other artists in the room, and you're able to discuss your ideas. It can feel like a very safe space where we can really kind of throw things out there and figure things out. And also because it's developmental, nothing is permanent. We're able to try things out, take risks, see how they feel.
Playwriting is such a specific discipline because it can feel very lonely and very isolating, because at the end of the day, all you need is yourself, a pen and a paper or a laptop or however you want to write. It's a great reminder for the writers that their work is going to be performed, hopefully, and it's going to be collaborated upon by other people. In a lot of ways, it can be a really helpful reality check for people to be like, hey, yes, we love what you're doing. I love that you're kind of creating your own vision of something, and also bring us into it. Let us play with you. Anything that encourages that spirit of play and, creativity and endless possibility is something that should be pursued and encouraged at all costs.
I'm a playwright. I knew that was my interest and what I wanted to do when I started my apprenticeship. Getting to know so many of the fellows and other affiliated artists really gave me a lot of ideas of what that professional path could look like. And I think the most concrete way that has taken shape that I'm in grad school now, that really came out of having that model and getting to talk to so many people who were there and seeing what their experiences had been.
I have always wanted to be a director, knowing that I am an administratively minded person and want to be working in a theater in that capacity too. So I think the biggest way that that's shifted is that I want to continue administratively working with playwrights, continuing that relationship with playwrights and expanding on the relationship with local playwrights that I've already established is something that really excites me.
I learned, when I was younger that I love theater, but I don't like being on stage. And so I thought, I guess I just can't do theater then. Playwrights Center is really where I learned that I don't have to be on stage, but I can still be a very important part of making theater happen.
My career plans before this were to be able to afford rent. I'm coming to the realization that it is possible to have a career in the arts and to have my passions become like a full-time job, a full-time thing that I can just do with my life. I think I kind of always had the assumption before this that, I would still be writing or I would still be active in theater, but maybe, in the evenings after a normal job or whatever, which I think normal job, whatever that is. But it's been wonderful to meet people who have made this kind of their full-time thing. And it's great to know that that's an option.
And a transformative moment for me was to being able to ask for help to Julia, to Hannah, to Elena, to my other apprentices, like Emma and Asher during my year in particular. We're all still really good friends because of the work we had to do and how much we relied on each other so much.
We became very close, and that I still am very close with who was my apprentice cohort. It was a really great professional experience and personal experience to have that group of people that I was a part of.
You go into it kind of open-ended, and I think that is one of the biggest strengths about this apprenticeship is that the first couple weeks you're kind of learning the ropes, and then you kind of find yourself settling in naturally to your own strengths. I'm also a filmmaker as well as a theater maker, and I kind of found myself falling into an editorial role, like editing the podcast, editing short promotional material, which going into this I didn't even think that was part of this process. And so I think just how open-ended it is, it allows you to discover more about yourself creatively, and that's been a huge plus.